Today, I'm going to try to draw this Romanesque bell tower along with some of the surrounding elements of this church in Valladolid, Spain. This is actually right around the corner from where I'm staying, which means I walk past it every single day. It was one of the first things I saw upon my arrival, so I just knew that I would get to drawing it eventually. The church is called Santa Maria la Antigua, or Saint Mary the Ancient, and it was founded, if you can believe it, in the year 1095. Although none of the original structure remains. One of the oldest parts that still stands today is the bell tower itself, dating back to the 12th century. If for some reason you needed another excuse from me to come to Spain, here you go. This is a stunning bit of history and architecture positioned right in the center of town. It's massive and impressive, and I had a pretty great time drawing it. So let's talk about that. But first, if you're new here, I'm learning to draw while I travel the world, and this is my 146th drawing. So let me know how you think it's going, like the video if you like it, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to follow along. Okay, so getting started with this one was pretty confusing, actually. As you can see, there are a bunch of different levels and angles for me to manage, and it felt like every time I decided where to start, I'd find something that would ultimately sway me. I would change my mind. So in my pocket sketchbook, before sitting down to do this drawing, I gave it a few quick tries, first starting with the bell tower, but then I had to deal with the little pinnacles that poke out in front of it. So then I tried starting from the top right to nail down a better sense of scale, but my proportions were all over the place. Not to mention this wasn't even really a primary area in my eyes. At first, I didn't see the point of starting at the bottom because I worried about mismanaging the space in my frame, but I eventually realized that for me, it just made the most sense to start there because it meant I'd be drawing from front to back. However, through all of that, I figured I should just scribble in at least some loose shapes around the paper to get my bearings and to leave myself, a simple guide as I work my way up and back. This, I think, was the optimal approach. I didn't have to deal with any overlap since I was working front to back, and I could get some of the more demanding perspective hurdles immediately out of the way. Speaking of those, there are many. A lot of this structure follows a simple enough two-point perspective, I think. I'm still not sure how to deal with that narrowing effect that happens with something like this that's really tall, but I will get to it eventually, I'm sure. So yeah, most of this either angles dramatically down and right or dramatically down and left, but there's also the top of the arches that extend from the two leftmost pinnacles you can see there at the bottom, and those don't align with anything. I just have to eyeball them. I guess the same can be said for the pinnacles themselves as well as the top of the bell tower. Lots of eyeballing going on here. And if you don't know, the pinnacles are the pointy little things on the bottom left and the top right. Anyway, unfortunately for me, the weather here as of late has not been participating. It's not really on my side, it seems. The rain has been on and off pretty consistently, and that makes this whole project nearly impossible. When it comes to the temperature, I can just suck it up, but rain and paper tend not to mix, so I'm really hoping that clears up soon. I bought a little umbrella, and my bag of supplies seems to be growing by the day at this point. And that'll come in handy for days like today when it sprinkles for a few minutes here and there. But if it's really coming down, there's really just not anything to be done. And I hate to complain about it, but I just wanted to mention it if you're wondering why I'm posting 3 days a week or why so many of the references are, flat and dreary looking. That's why. So cross your fingers it ends sooner than later. However, it is the season, and I did kind of see this coming. On a positive note, I'm feeling pretty much completely back to normal. With respect to the drawings. A lot of that muscle memory has come back online, thankfully, in part thanks to some simple at-home doodling beforehand. It was a strange experience feeling so far removed from where I was just a few weeks ago, so I'm thankful that I'm starting to feel some of that confidence return to my line work and observational skills and what have you. Had I attempted this one a few days ago, I think there's a good chance that I would have missed a lot of the little tricks that made it look realistic. I think the tower would have looked really sloppy and disproportionate, but the parapets especially, which are the little walls along the edge that have that open work clover looking design, they would have been utterly ruined. And actually, on that note, they're my favorite part of this one. I think they turned out looking so nice and clean, almost like I knew what I was doing, and they make for a nice foundation for the rest of the structure. Ironically, the tower is probably my least favorite part, and I think that says something. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think about this one. Which part is your favorite? Which part do you think would be the most difficult for you? And which part do you think needs the most work from me? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed watching this process unfold, I'd love to hear that as well. As always, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this one, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.